Hi, she's Trixie, and I'm Sarah, and this is Our Yarn World, a place where we come to share the love of yarn crafting, all that it gives us, and all that we hope that it gives you. Yes. We are so excited to be able to come today on episode 80 to be able to talk about some of the things that we have been working on in the last 2 weeks. Last week we took a break because of my father having surgery, and my mom wouldn't have been able to do it regardless because she ended up having an asthma attack.
Yep.
So she's still in recovery, so if she doesn't talk much, it's not for a lack of not wanting to talk.
Right.
It just kind of causes her to cough, and so
that's where we're at.
Yep.
So, I have been working on baby blankets. I guess I better specify that. Baby doll blankets. For 3 little ones, and I am on my 4th one because I realized I'm going to need one for our house because they're going to be so used to playing with them at their house. Mm-hmm. So I am working on my 4th one, but I wanted to show you how pretty they're turning out. Now the first one was asked for to be in pink, and so I made it in pink and then have a rainbow border. And it's so cute. It turned out so nice. I did this one in a moss stitch, I believe. It's a different kind of stitch than I've ever done before. It was a little bit tighter. All these
it's soft, though.
Baby doll blankets are in they're 60 chains across, but for some reason this one turned out a little smaller, but I think it was the stitch. The rest of them I'm doing in half double crochet, and they seem to be just a little broader. So the second one is my granddaughter wanted hers in purple and pink. Well, we all know that she loves blue as well because she loves Elsa from Frozen.
Oh my God.
So I did them in all the different shades. So it was an ice cream yarn. And so what happened was the first round on this border is also in ice cream yarn. And then I found a different yarn at the thrift store. The baby yarn.
Yeah.
And so I finished it off in that. And so I did this one in ice cream yarn and just bordered it in the plain pink that I started this one in. So those 2 were done. Then my grandson, well, we all know Canyon, and he loves his baby dolls too. And I think I'm going to find him a boy baby doll for Christmas. He's sitting right over there. So, and we got to have a blanket.
He's been sleeping with one of Olivia's baby dolls in his bed, and he puts it to bed before he lays down.
Yeah. So he's going to be a good daddy.
Yes.
But I did this in all varying colors. It started out with this variegated blue, but for some reason I didn't realize when I got into this that I had put yarns together. So it ended up going into a regular blue and then into the rainbow primaries. Excuse me. And I just did a gray border around the edges. So, and like I said, these last 2 were in half double crochet. So they're just a little bit bigger, but I don't think that's going to be a big problem. And then this last one, I've only gotten this far in, but half double crochet, 60 chains across, and it's in a half double crochet and 5mm hook. And I'm just enjoying the process of having just baby doll blankets for a little bit while I'm recovering from all this, and it's something easy I can do, and it's just something I can do on my lap. and they don't turn out very big. And when you're done, you're done. You just, it's just fun. So, what have you been working on?
So yeah, I have been working on a lot of stuff. It's been good for my mental health to be able to be grounded in something productive with a lot of things that have been on my mind. So things have been accomplished. But I have a project that I've been doing that I haven't even told my mom about.
Well, let's all be surprised together.
So the lady that has been living with me really wants fingerless mittens, and she really likes owls, color purple,
Yeah.
and like grays. So this is what I've been doing. This is one glove that is fully completed.
Oh my gosh, that's so cute.
It's a glove. She wanted a longer cuff with an owl, the fingerless portion with the little
Thumb.
thumb, and with it on. This is what it looks like.
Aww.
And now I'm convinced to make myself some. Probably won't be an owl, but now I'm just like, this is really nice.
Yeah.
And I used to make these when I was younger, but then I stopped making them, and now it's like, this really inspired me. And I made this pattern up through an inspiration. So I saw this pattern through like something I looked up on like Google or Pinterest, and I was like, I can copycat that pattern. And so I didn't have to look up the pattern, I just had to look at it.
Right. And that's how she's always been.
And I just copycatted it, and we put buttons on it, and
so is this knit or crochet?
this is knit.
Okay.
And I'm currently done with the cuff, and I have to start on this portion, and yeah. So this is something I've just been doing on the side, and yeah, I've been making the pattern up as I go. So this is just where this is at, and yeah, it's been fun. What do you think, Mom?
I think it's really cute. And I love the buttons.
I thought they looked good.
Yeah. Oh, she's going to enjoy that. This is a really skinny woman, so she has no body fat to help her stay warm.
No, she's always
in the
cold.
winter months.
She's always so cold.
And so this is going to help her stay warm.
And when we're done, we're going to make her a headband, too, out of the
Ooh,
material.
yeah, yeah.
And I got the Red Heart Super Saver ombre that is listed as the violet ombre.
Go sit in a chair. No, go sit in a chair.
So now on to one of my other projects, which I'm super excited about. Oh my goodness, this will be so much fun. I'm so excited about this.
Go sit in a chair.
I have to give my son my water. Daniel, have my water. No? Oh. He's pouting. I got a really big bag. So, do you want to look at the blanket that I've been working on, or do you want to see the Godzilla?
Godzilla.
So, I don't know what you guys last saw, but...
Wow. Oh.
My mom.
Oh. Wow. Okay.
So, from its head to its body
To its spiral tail. That is so awesome.
it's all one piece. I started at the head. The jaw was separate, but we had to connect it at right here, and then it became one solid piece. And all of this was over 160 rows of just
Wow.
one continuous origami pattern. And obviously I still have to make the limbs, so the legs and the arms. And I still have to make the fins and the spikes. But this thing is crazy.
Massive. Wow. Holy moly.
Yeah. Feel it. Feel how heavy it is.
Oh, wow.
It's heavy.
Yeah.
So, yep. And my son wants to hold it. So you go take that and go sit down.
Go sit in Papa's chair.
That should be a good distraction for him. So yeah, right now I'm in the aspect of like, do I want to make 3 million fins for it, which
It's bigger than he is.
Yeah,
It's bigger than he is. Whoa.
or
It's
a dinosaur. Yeah.
Yes. He's showing us. Oh, go sit in Papa's chair.
I have to make the limbs. I think I'm going to make the limbs next. I might not attach them next, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the limbs, and then I'm going to make the fins. I really think that's what I want to go into next, because the fins are ridiculous. Like, all these fins are super detailed. Like, you're having the fin, but you have to make holes for where other fins that you're going to attach to it come out. So it's like one fin that has spikes on it, and it's multicolored, and you have to embroider on it.
Wow.
For 10 down the back, and then you have miniatures of that on the sides, plus the ones that you do on the tail are all separate.
Wow.
And it's like and this is the portion of these sort of crafts that really get to me. Granted, that was one hefty thing to have to accomplish, and I'm very grateful that I've met that accomplishment.
But that's like the detail work, right?
This is the embellishing, embellishing, and you have to do it over and over and over and over again so that you can get it on there. And it's so much detail. And I am not looking forward to the time it's going to take to be able to do that with the detail that the pattern requires to be able to come out the way that I want it to come out.
Yeah.
This was one solid color besides the face.
Yeah.
And the face happened within a day. It was pretty quick.
Yeah.
This is going to require dedication and me sitting down and doing it. And that's part of the reason I kind of want to go to the limbs, because it's one color. It's moving, it's changing, it's constantly adding and taking away stitches and making you make the knees and the legs and the muscles, but it's one color again. Whereas this is going to require a lot of, like, I'm going to get used to the pattern. By the time I get used to the pattern, I have to learn another pattern for the other fin.
Right.
You know what I mean?
It's funny. I mean, it's not funny, but it's wow, that's a lot of detail.
Yeah.
That is a lot of detail.
And so, on top of it, on the side, when I'm normally watching something, I've been trying to do this thing where it's like, that's only when I'm watching something that I've watched before. So, like, things that I'm dedicated to. And if it is new, it has to be in my ears. It has to be like an audiobook, something that is not requiring my constant visual attention.
Right.
Or it could be a YouTube thing where it's like I can just have it on in the background and still understand what they're telling me without needing to see it.
Right.
Whereas you have a movie that I've never seen before, and I'm going to constantly be drawn away from it because of this, where it's like I need to see the visual cues and all the things to be able to know what's going on.
Yeah.
So I've been working on my mother-in-law's blanket, and I am now like 4 or 3 blocks away from the end.
Yay. That's good.
So like before, I was only like at 6 or 7 blocks, and now I'm at like 8 or 9 blocks. So like I've been trying to pump those out just as much as I could, while still realistically now doing these gloves and getting this project done.
Yeah. Wow.
So like I've been setting time limits for myself, and I apologize going out of frame, but like I have, let's see, we can count. I think there's one missing. one in somewhere else, another box, by the way, because I don't think this is all of them, but this is one of them. This is what a block looks like.
They're so pretty.
They're about, I think they're like 1.5 feet, like they're more like 16 inches, I think, than 18, but they're roughly in that, like, they can be like 18 inches. So we have one. We have two. We have three.
And they're all coming up with different variations of the
from where they're
stairwell.
starting.
Yeah. So it's really going to be pretty.
That's 4. Remember, I still have to border and block all these. And I'm still trying to figure out how I want to continue blocking them because I don't know if I like the way that these are blocked.
Right.
I think this is 5.
6.
7. And there's a part of me that really feels like I'm missing one. Like, I really feel it in my gut. Like, I didn't have them all in the... Yep. So it was one of those things where it's like when I was making these before, I had them in 2 separate boxes for where this WIP was. And I have a feeling that one of my blocks is missing because I remember counting 7 the other day and then adding the one that I was currently making and then the one I made again and being like, I should have 9. And then I came out to 8. Now, granted, if I have to make, if this is really, what was this, 8?
This was 7.
7? If I really have to make 5 more, I'm already on my next one. It's in here. And I will keep going. Like, granted, I will do that. But it's one of those things where it's like I really kind of feel it in my bones that, like,
Right.
that I might have 8 total. But this is one hefty, like, stack.
Yes, it is.
Of blocks. And this is not going to be a not heavy block. Like,
it's going to be a nice weighted one.
It's thick.
Yes.
This thick and quick Mandela yarn. It's really nice.
So you like working with it?
I do.
Good.
It's nice on the fingers.
Yeah.
Knitting, and the way that I knit is I normally wrap the yarn between my fingers to be able to maintain tension. This is something I can do. The only thing that is problematic to me is because of how big the stitches are, it can cramp up the middle of my hands. It doesn't really hurt my finger as much. So there's that. So I've been switching between having this be my sit down for a movie project, and then I kind of, because the mittens don't take me that long, I've been kind of like spacing out portions of what I'm doing for it. So like I'll make the cuff, put it down. Well, now I'm going to accomplish just this part of the pattern, so just the owl, put it down. I'm going to make this the rest of it to here, put it down. I'm going to make the thumb, put it down. I can put them all together, or even make the thumb and sew it together. It's like I'm sectioning that out so that I'm not just fully focusing my energy on that, and still I'm able to get.
And you feel good about it because during the day when you're thinking, it's like, well, I already got that part done. Now I only have to do this part. So
it's like I'm giving myself permission to be able to focus on all these projects at the same time. It's because I'm prioritizing and giving them all space to exist.
Yeah.
So this, the blanket project gets very specific space to be able to happen during movies, whereas like the this one I've already done once, so I just have to copy it again. And again, it's not a pattern I've written down. It's one that I'm just following a copycat pattern in my head that I've followed. I know I've done it once, I can do it again.
Yeah.
And luckily that's right in front of me. It's not like I'm going to be able to miss what I've done.
Right.
And then on the other hand, I have to get this Godzilla done. And it's much more of a mental feat than anything else. Like, does it take a lot of my time? Did that take days and weeks? It did, It probably wouldn't have if I had been able to just stay focused on it. And I realized that, yeah, I probably have ADHD or something that's keeping that from happening. That's undiagnosed. But it's one of those things where it's like at the same time, I have a life that is constantly demanding of me because of being a mom of two and a wife and hosting and all these things that I'm doing. And I get to give myself a break. And so I only give my projects room at the end of the day.
Right.
That way I'm allowed to read during the day. So it's like I offer up the things I love to do by prioritizing what I'm actually able to accomplish during the times I have available. Mm-hmm. I'm able to pick up and put down a book much more easier when the kids are awake than a project.
Right.
So I save the projects that I can do with the kids, realistically going to be the blocks.
Right.
For when I'm watching a movie with them or sitting down or with my husband.
Right.
Then the ones that take much more of my mental energy I do when I'm up late at night because I normally am. Right. And I'm just kind of up at the night and just enjoying some alone time or even spending some time with the lady that is living with us right now. And it's like one of those things where it's like she doesn't demand my full attention. I'm able to work on these projects and she's so grateful to the one I'm making her and she's so fascinated by what we've been doing. She's been actually asking me to teach her how to do this because she's like, I can make toys. I can make blankets. This is so cool. You can make clothes, and I'm doing all those three things right now. Yeah. She's like, this is such a versatile thing, and I've tried in the past, but I never had a teacher.
Right.
I've tried to always learn on my own, and I'm like, well, it's a little bit easier when you have someone else there to kind of correct your errors right there. Yeah. So yeah, I've been reading during the day, doing this during the doing this more during movies and doing my other projects more during the night. So if that helps, and dear Lord, does something as simple as this dry erase board help me keep track of my rows. I cannot begin to explain to you my rows or rounds how crazy it is to have to keep up with all this. Right. Because when I was doing that big tail, and you're going from, like, I started at, like, God, when I picked up the project again, I think I was at, like, row 50, maybe. It was something, I think it was under 50. And I ended just the other day at row, those spirals were added on top of the project, and that was considered row 164. Jeez. And I still have to make the fins for it, and each one of those are considered a row.
Oh my. Yeah, if you didn't have that board, it wouldn't have been as easy.
So what we've been doing is, like, this dry erase has been so helpful to just be able to tally up, keep up, be like, this is the row that's next. Like, if I have a continuous amount of rows where it's like all the same amount of stitches, like I'm just single crocheting each stitch all the way around, single crocheting each stitch all the way around, I just let myself know you have to check the pattern at this future row. Right. So that I don't have to keep checking the pattern. I just realize, I just have to check the pattern at this point. And once I reach that point, now I know what to do. Or, like, I'll write, this is the row that's next up. This is the row that you have done. So that I am now not like, wait a minute, did I do that row? Or was this the row I'm starting on? Or... Because sometimes I get
nice,
and I can
nice to have those notes.
And I can just write it down and not waste paper. Yeah. This thing was so helpful.
That's a good trick.
Seriously, it is such a simple thing. So, there's that. Okay.
Are you done with your projects?
That's where I'm at right now. I just have to figure out the other color for the Godzilla that I'm complementing with the blue, and then whether I'm going to be embroidering it or not, because each one of those spikes are supposed to be hex decorated with embroidery thread in the pattern, and I'm wondering if maybe what I should do is get sparkly other colored blue
Okay.
And just do that to cut my time in half.
Yes.
So I'm not stressing out over all the details, but I'm still accentuating what they want me to do for the...
And he's never going to know that the pattern said that and you did this.
It's like it wants me to be able to create shadow points to reference where the fin is inside the spike.
Okay.
Or the spike inside the fin.
Right.
It's like it wants me to be able to show the triangle outside of all the decorations that are outside of that.
Right.
I don't know. It's maybe it's something that I should show you, and maybe you can just help me work through. Because I'm not trying to just make shortcuts, but realistically, I have to get this done, and I don't want to be tripped up or unmotivated by this extra step if I can compromise with it so that I can still get this done for my nephew.
Right.
I sent a photo in a group chat to my nephew's parents, which is my brother is the step dad, and his wife is the biological mom. I was letting them know where I was at the project, and they're so grateful for what we're doing. And I'm just like, it's fine. I'm losing my mind because I finally actually got this done.
Well, I wanted to mention before we do this scripture that we have had a couple of new subscribers within the last couple of weeks, and we are very grateful for that. We're a small channel. I mean, we haven't grown much, but we are growing by each person that's subscribing, and we are just so grateful. And we wanted to say thank you for that.
Yeah.
So
hope you enjoy your time here.
Yeah. And our scripture this week is humble yourselves in the sight of the Lord, and He shall lift you up. James 4:10. I'm not sure which version that is, but I'm thinking it's New King James Version. But humble yourselves in the sight of the Lord, and He will lift you up. And I got my little definitions book here, and I had written down humble, and that's having or showing a modest or low estimate of one's own importance, or modest. So be modest in yourselves in the sight of the Lord. Be modest in the sight of the Lord, and He shall lift you up. He's going to he is very drawn to humble people, very modest people, very unassuming people. And He's very adverse to the proud or to the boaster or anybody who thinks that they can do it themselves and don't need Him. Humble people know that they need God. They are very, they know that they can't do it on their own. And that's who God seems to be more drawn to, is the people that know that they need Him. And so, and in the end, He will lift them up. He's going to be the one who elevates the humble, and that is where I'm hoping to be someday. I mean, I'm really hoping that I'm there now, but we're all works in progress. We are never there until the end. You know, it's every day is a new challenge or a new thing that we have to work through, and that's the whole meaning of life, isn't it? It's just to be working through the challenges and doing it to the best of our ability, but with His help. So I just wanted to bring that into our focus today. What do you think about this?
Like, with all the psychology books I've been reading, you have this concept of bent people, which is called a comprehensive bias, which means their bent is already towards something even before a question comes up. So like you could say, do you like black or white? And they're instantly bent. Their decision is already kind of like, instead of looking at it head on and seeing both as a viable option, they're already over and kind of leaning a certain way before they have even stood up to answer the question.
Right.
It's called a comprehensive bias. And I think about the fact that we have a situation in which, in here, God has an easier time to deal with a person that's willing to sit still, look at both options, look up before they stand up and make their choice. And it affects everything because certainty gives us peace, and a lot of people that boast about their certainty are very proud people that are not looking at it towards what is God's heart. They're looking at it as much more towards what we are interpreting is the right choice.
Right.
And they want to be right because they want to assume that they're right. And even if it's not out of this is God's only possible variable choice, it's much more of I am making my own decision despite everything, and it doesn't matter. And yeah, God gave us free will, but he was also giving us a brain. Yeah. And people who already have a comprehensive bias, people who they are so certain that they believe in a black and white, right? Which not to say that it isn't, have a harder time to be taught. They're harder to reach. They're harder to discuss anything with because their opinions come out so forcefully that they don't even recognize that they're not even loving people. And they can't love themselves, and they can't love God if they're trying to pass a judgment call through a lens that they either were taught themselves they had to go through, and so they need others to go through it to be valid.
Wow, that is really. And
that's the whole thing is when I look at someone who is not willing to hear, I think about how they were not heard. Yeah. And so now they need to almost feel like someone else is getting run over the bus to feel like what they went through. Right. Was worth it. And I'm not saying that that's okay.
Some people have to step on other people just to feel like they've gotten higher
or
elevated themselves.
Well, not only that, but that what they went through wasn't for nothing.
Right.
Because the reality is we live in a society where hurt people hurt other people because if you don't deal with your wounds, then you're bleeding on people that never hurt you to begin with. And I think about the boaster and the proud person who they're more willing to look aside and have that bent because it's guarding them. For them, it's like, I'm going to give you my back because I feel unsafe. This makes me insecure.
Putting that wall up.
And they put it up against God too. Yeah. Whereas the humble man is willing to be like, I am going to trust that if I have to be brave enough to choose the other side, that it's led, and I'm not just sheep. I'm not just being forced down this narrative because I am not smart enough. It's I have listened because I am teachable and I have empathy and I can hear both sides of an argument and I can still come up with the right choice because I have God who has given me the consciousness to do so, but it takes hearing. Quick to hear, slow to speak. Yeah. All these things lead to be able to be humble. If we humble ourselves and pray and seek his face, we can turn from our wicked ways.
And he will heal our land.
And it's one of those things where it's like in this situation, humble yourselves in the sight of the Lord and he shall lift you up. It's one of those things where it's like the moment that you're willing to become teachable.
Yes.
And recognize that you might have it wrong and recognize that was a boundary that anybody has to make. There are people that have those certainties, are so proud of them because it's a boundary for them to feel like they're not going to make that mistake or have something happen. But if we're so unteachable that we're not even to be able to be God can't even reach us, that will become a problem.
True.
So that's just something. If you want to be lifted up, try to do it not by stepping over people, but to let God lift you up.
Right.
And another thing, your light doesn't burn brighter just because you burn someone else's out.
Right.
And honestly, your light only burns brighter when others' lights are around you, because yours is even that much more valued.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I hope that was good for you. I know that we had a couple of distractions. We're still trying to figure out this new season that we're in, where I can't always have someone to watch the kids. So I hope that was not too much of a distraction. We really didn't have too many distractions, but Godzilla got some love, and we do have some fans that live in this same house that just wanted to kind of say hi to you all. And we hope that you guys had a very good rest of your week. We love you, and as always, we hope that you're able to stitch your way
to mental health.